Hi all, I just wanted to say a big thanks to everyone. This week I reached 300 subscribers and this is all to you guys. Thank you so much for your support, for your subscribes, your comments and your likes. If you're new to the channel, please join and subscribe. I'm going to have a lot of exciting content this summer as the season progresses. I'm going to be incorporating more videos of harvesting from the farm and turning it into some exciting recipes. For this week, I'm going to show you one of my husband's favorite desserts, Bienenstich. As it's Father's Day this weekend, I'm going to show you how to make this dessert. Heat your milk to 83 degrees Celsius or 181 degrees Fahrenheit, then cool to 35 degrees Celsius or 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Heating the milk will denaturize the whey protein. It will help to ensure a tender crumb to the dough and nice lift. Meanwhile, it's time to zest the lemon. I'm using a microplane rasp as it shaves the perfect amount of aromatic zest without collecting any of the bitter white pith underneath. Firmly grasp the lemon and run it back and forth on the surface of the rasp. Start on one end, then switch to remove the zest on the other end. Next, run the sides of the lemon on the rasp. Continue to do this until you've removed all of the zest. I've left a list of the tools I'm using in the description bar. There's also links provided if you're interested in picking any of them up. If you have any questions about the tools, feel free to leave your questions in the comments. To prepare the dough, let's create a sponge. Combine the milk, flour, and yeast in a mixing bowl. With a dough hook, mix the ingredients until well combined. Cover the bowl with plastic wrap and leave it at warm room temperature for 30 minutes. Once the sponge is developed and grown, add the flour, lemon zest, salt, sugar, eggs, and egg yolks. Mix for 2 minutes at low speed until the ingredients come together and comes clean from the sides of the bowl. This is called pickup stage. Next, increase the speed on the mixer to medium and mix for 5 minutes. Gradually add the butter to the dough as it is mixing. Be patient adding the butter, as this process will take up to 10 minutes as you emulsify the butter and develop the gluten structure of the dough. Your dough will look satisfyingly smooth, glossy, and plump. To test the development of the gluten structure, take a piece of the dough and gently stretch it with your fingers. You should be able to pull the dough until it is thin and light can shine through the dough. We call this window pane. Cover the finished dough with plastic wrap and allow it to bulk ferment for another 30 minutes. Let's prepare the topping. Combine butter, sugar, and honey in a pan and bring to a boil. Remove from the heat and stir in the sliced almonds. Set aside to cool. The honey I'm using is a summer harvest honey from my family farm. For this recipe, I'm using cake rings with a piece of parchment paper to form as the base. Gather and fold the paper into the side of the cake ring. Continue rotating the pan while folding in the edge of the paper onto the cake ring. Do this until you've reached the end and tuck in the edge until it hugs the bottom of the ring. Once the dough is doubled in size, transfer to a lightly floured work surface. Deflate the dough by lightly patting it to release some of the excess gas, and begin portioning the dough. Cut the dough with a metal dough scraper. I portion the dough into 3 equal pieces, weighing approximately 400 grams for the cake rings. I'm reserving a third of the dough for a future video. Be sure to subscribe so you can find out what I will be making with this dough. Shape the dough with the sides of your hands by pushing the dough and using the weight of the dough to tuck it under itself in a circular fashion. By carefully cupping your hands around the dough and shaping the dough into a ball, this is called rounding. Transfer the dough into the cake rings. There is enough butter in the dough, so it is not necessary to grease the cake rings. Press the dough into the pans. As the dough proofs or continues to double in size, it will fill into the pan. Add a layer of the almond mixture to the tops of the dough, spreading to the edges. As the Bienenstich bakes, the almonds will be nice and caramelized with the flavor of honey. Once the dough is doubled in size, bake in a 375-degree Fahrenheit oven for 30 minutes. Allow to cool for a few minutes and remove the rings. For the filling, we are going to make pastry cream or crème pâtissier. In a pan, combine milk, cream, sugar, and vanilla. Bring to a simmer and set aside, allowing the vanilla to infuse. In a bowl, whisk the eggs and milk. Whisk in the cornstarch. Next, it is time to temper the eggs. Add the hot milk to the eggs while whisking. Doing this will prevent the eggs from scrambling in the hot milk. Strain the mixture back in the pan, removing any solid bits. On medium-low heat, vigorously whisk the custard. Be sure to stir the bottom and the sides of the pan to avoid any pockets. Continue to cook while stirring until the mixture is thickened, the starch is gelled, and the cooked custard begins to release some bubbles from the heat. Transfer the pastry cream to a pan and cover it directly with parchment paper or plastic wrap to avoid skinning or drying of the surface. Pierce the surface with a paring knife to release excess steam. Allow to cool. The pastry cream can be made and stored in the fridge the day before. To assemble the cake, use a serrated knife to slice into the cake. Score around the perimeter of the cake and slice through. Be careful to keep your fingers out of the way when cutting. Fill a piping bag with your cooled pastry cream and pipe a layer onto the cake. If you do not have a piping bag, you can also add a layer and smooth it with a palette knife or with your spatula. Add the top layer of your cake and dust with icing sugar. The cake is a yeasted cake and not too sweet, but it's full of flavor and has great textures with the crunchy almonds and the smooth custard and the buttery cake. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to look out for next week's video as I'm going to show you something exciting from the farm.